Hello, welcome to another episode, Halftime TV viewers and subscribers. And I know it's a little bit delayed, but don't worry, good things usually take time. Now we're here to talk about the Reggae Boyz games against Dominican Republic and Dominica. Games were played a couple of days ago, and I know there have been a ton load of content about those two games. People saying all sorts of things about the Jamaica national team. But Halftime TV, first and foremost, let us send congratulations to the Reggae Boyz on job well done. 6 points in the bag. I know some people have questions, some people have concerns, and we'll get into those a little bit later on. I've put together a list of the 5 most talked about topics coming off the back of that game against Dominica. And I say Dominica because it's the more recent of the two games. After Dominican Republic, there were talks about different topics. People had things that they wanted to get off their chest. But I think after that Dominica game that was played yesterday, some folks came to the realization, some folks, they basically cemented what their ideas or what their initial thoughts were. So again, we're going to share these opinions. These are the opinions of the fans, people who've attended the games, as well as across various platforms. And I have my own opinions, but I'll share the most talked about topics coming off those two games, and then I'll open the floor to you, the viewers and subscribers, as we usually do, to share what your thoughts are coming off the back of the game. Mind you, my phone has been ringing nonstop. People have been calling me. They've been calling me straight through from last week when we played the first game through to last night. I think I was on the phone with one of the Halftime TV subscribers up until maybe 12 o'clock last night. So big shout out to all the subscribers. Big shout out to everyone who's tuning into the channel. And as always, we welcome conversation, because I think if everyone had the same opinion, the world would be a very boring place. All right. So shout out to the sponsors, Quick Link Shipping. Anything in Egypt into Jamaica, they have you covered. Let's get to it. Right. So first and foremost, 876 is under pressure, and heavy pressure. And again, these are the things being discussed on the ground. These are the things being circulated in the various channels. All right. So 876, we saw them last week on basically all the YouTube channels. There was one YouTuber who came out and said he wasn't going to promote for 876 because 876 is basically getting paid to do a job, and he won't be offering his services and his ideas for free. No, that resulted in the Jamaica Football Federation, or the powers that be, reaching out to 876 and saying basically, no more interviews. We don't want to see you on those platforms. As such, we haven't seen 876 since they went on that particular platform. Right. So 876 under heavy pressure. They've been ramping up their marketing approach, and I spoke with one of the head personnel at 876 of the year, obviously, because we made some attempts to get him here, and he was explaining everything. This is before all the drama on the other YouTube channel, but it's a marketing campaign, and this was only the beginning. He said they needed to get some things going prior to the launch of the jersey. The jersey has now been launched, so let's see where they go from here. But I think based on what's happening, and since I've done that video, basically asking them to do more, I've since seen a whole lot more happening. And I don't want to say it's down to my video, because it was brought to my attention that they were doing a lot more. Maybe I was the one who wasn't looking in the right spaces. So again, we take our blame if it's there to be shouldered, but I wasn't seeing it. People pointed me in the direction that I should be looking, and I've since seen some things happening. So 876 is under heavy pressure, but as they indicated, it's the beginning of the campaign. So let's see where they go from here. And for those who don't understand, a marketing campaign isn't overnight. It's not one day. It's not 2 days. They have, I think, for the 2026 World Cup, as well as the next female World Cup as well. So they have both World Cups, male and female. So the campaign began a couple of weeks ago. So let's see where it goes. All right, Jamaica land we love. Anyway, moving on to pointer number 2, Shamar Nicholson. And I think we oftentimes we don't play the contributions that Shamar Nicholson has made to Jamaica national team. And I I don't even want to go into everything because this is one of the shorter videos. But let me say, Shamar Nicholson is a huge asset to the Jamaica senior national team. Sometimes he misses a lot of chances. As I like to say, you put yourself into position to miss chances, and the mere fact that you're missing chances means that you're putting yourself in a position where you've been given those chances. So Shamar Nicholson is on a hot streak right now for the Jamaica senior national team. He's turning up in big moments. We saw he got a brace against Dominica. He scored against Dominica Republic. That huge game against Canada, he basically got the team going again. He scored 2 in that game. So I think it's one of those where we're just sitting here and we're just watching it play out in front of our eyes. And in years to come, after Jamaica or after the Reggaeboyz complete their World Cup qualification and they get to the World Cup and they've done what is to be done at the World Cup, we'll be looking back at these Shamar Nicholson moments, and we will be telling our kids, and even in years to come, we'll be telling our grandkids as well, the same way how we're talking about the likes of Theodore Whitmore and Walter Boyd and what they did during our 98 campaign. All right, so Shamar Nicholson, hats off, keep up the great work. I know we bash you when you're not doing well, so I'm giving you the flowers when you're doing great as well. Moving on, pointer number 3, Kahem Dixon. No, I don't know where to start with this youngster, and I think he's an anomaly, just plain and simple. I think when he was coming through the ranks, there were a lot of comparisons. There were a lot of comparisons with Whisper, because obviously he was the next teenage sensation straight off the bat. Kahem Dixon is an incredible player, right? Fresh out of Clarendon College, he went to the National Premier League. He did a job in the National Premier League, exceptional there as well. And people are thinking, oh, he's still a teenager. And then up to the senior national team and on the score sheet again, and this time in a World Cup qualifier, right? World Cup qualifier, first start in a competitive game for Jamaica, and he's getting on the score sheet as well. So big shout out to Kahem Dixon. There were rumors that he'd be on the move this summer, so we're keeping our eyes on that. And I will be bringing the story here once it breaks on his next destination. But really and truly, I don't expect him to be playing in the National Premier League next season. Kahem Dixon is an incredible player, and that burst of energy, that excitement to play, that eagerness, he's just hunger. He's just hungry. Sorry, he's just showing that level of hunger that we see from young Brazilian players. I make the comparison because that's what I saw from Gabriel Jesus when he just broke onto the scene. They were just hungry to get the ball, hungry to get a part of to be a part of the play, and he's pressing magnificent. So Kahem Dixon, if you don't know the name, write it down now. Schoolboy standout, National Premier League top young player, and now he's taking a claim in the senior national team as well. And I expect him to continue going on this upward trajectory. Maybe he won't get the move to a top English Premier League team as Dujon Whisper Richards got, but big things are in store for Kahem Dixon for sure. And I have to commend him on a performance that was well executed. He was given his opportunity and he took it with both hands. And I tell you what, on Wednesday at the Tracks and Records sports bar, where the Copa America team will be announced on this week. So Wednesday this week, the Copa America team will be announced at the Tracks and Records sports bar. That's Usain Bolt's Tracks and Records. I expect Kahem Dixon's name to be on that list of players who will be going to Copa America. All right, so yes, he did. We didn't hear back from him. We heard back from his agent. So his agent said we heard back from him that his agent said he shouldn't come on the show. All right, so no Bailey Kadamari. All right, moving on. So we spoke about 876. We spoke about Shamar Nicholson, Kahem Dixon as well. Now we're continuing Coach Heimir Hallgrímsson. And I don't know how I feel about this one. I think, especially on international level, your coach base. Yeah, sorry about that. So based on the international level, you're judged on results, right? And I think oftentimes people question the style of play and systems and all of that. But at the end of the day, if the results aren't going your way, people don't care about the style of play, right? For example, if the style of play is exceptional, if everything is going well and you're playing pristine football and the results are awful, you're going to get sacked. If and remember, we're talking about Jamaica, we're talking about Jamaica, because in other countries you may have more pressure as it comes down to style of play. For example, the likes of Spain. I know Spain would be ultra critical if you're playing Jose Mourinho style of football and getting results. They'd prefer to play their style of tiki-taka. And I think Spain is one of the very few countries that maintains their identity throughout, right? The same with Italy, they maintain their identity throughout, right? I think over the recent times, we've seen a little bit of a shift, primarily because the top players in Brazil and the top South American players, most of them are playing in Europe. So it's kind of difficult to replicate that flair that we oftentimes we associate with Brazil, the Brazil of the early 2000s or the late, or forever up to the early 2000s. Because from ever since, when you think about Brazil, you think about flair football. However, in recent times, it's kind of difficult outside of Neymar and now Vinicius Jr. It's hard to pick out a player who has that flair, who does that little bit, who does something special on the ball whenever he gets it. Okay, so but going back, the fan was sharing that he doesn't think Hallgrímsson is anything special, and basically the formation that Hallgrímsson is using is backwards, primitive, all of those terms. So I'm gonna ask you, the viewers and subscribers, what are your thoughts on that? I think from a defensive perspective, we still have a lot of work to do. I know all the pieces aren't there, but defensively we're lacking. We need to get a little bit more focused in the defense line. We need some work there, because especially in that last game, I can't understand how Dominica coming down, putting Jamaica under serious pressure to get the game at 3-2, having been 2-0 up. Right? There were also concerns because over the two games, both teams played better football than Jamaica. Mind you, they lost, but from an aesthetic perspective, or both teams were more aesthetically pleasing on the eye than Jamaica. One fan reached out and said it's almost as if the Jamaican players cannot play football whenever they put on the national jersey. So I don't know if it's a case where heavy is the head that wears a crown, or the jersey too heavy upon them back, or what, I don't know, right? But the team, as of now, it seems as if they and this is, again, these are the opinions of fans and the masses, seems as if they don't have a clear-cut system. When one player receives the ball, he can't just play a blind pass expecting another player to be in that position. So maybe that comes with time. Mind you, Hallgrímsson still very early in his stint. These players that we used for both World Cup qualifiers, a lot of them are still very new to the setup. Who knows? Maybe when all the pieces are there and we have something going more consistent, then it'll look a little bit better. But I don't want to come out and say, okay, Coach Hallgrímsson is garbage and all that. No, I won't go as far as to say that, which was basically the sentiment that I was hearing. All right, so let's hear what your thoughts are. What are your thoughts on Coach Heimir Hallgrímsson so far? He's getting the results, but from a footballing perspective, what are your thoughts on that? Is he doing something different than other coaches who've been with the national setup? Is his system evident to you? Do you see players who are thriving under Hallgrímsson? Let's hear what those thoughts are below. My final pointer, and as always, we try to keep the videos as concise as possible, because we want the fans to come back and be able to watch it and to enjoy the content. Right? So my final content, my final topic, sorry. Guatemala is the team to beat. right? So all the teams that Jamaica has right now that we have in the group, the likes of Dominican Republic, BVI, we expect Jamaica to beat these teams. I think Guatemala will be our toughest opponent in this group, and whenever Jamaica plays Guatemala, that will be basically the decider on who will come out top of the group. All right, so Guatemala, so far in the group, they've blanked Dominica 6-0. They've also they've also came out victors with a 3-0 victory in their second game. So quite frankly, Guatemala right now on 9 goals, 6 points. They haven't conceded a goal as yet. The Reggaeboyz, we conceded 2 goals yesterday, although we got a clean sheet in the first game. So I think overall now we're seeing the group basically fleshing out a little bit. And what we usually have, we usually have challenges with the Central American Central American teams. The Latin American teams, they usually put up serious fight against Jamaica. So whether we're talking about Costa Rica, Panama, Mexico, Guatemala, these teams, they usually put up serious fight against Jamaica. And going into these qualifiers, I know people were looking at the set of teams and saying, okay, Guatemala will be a tough one. And I think now, on the back of those 2 games, it has basically manifested itself where we can identify now that Guatemala will be the team to beat. The Jamaican team, based on individual talent, I think we're as good as any team in CONCACAF, if not better. But when it comes down to football and what we're doing on the field of play, as we saw over both games, we require that individual to step up and to have that decisive moment, because as a team, we're still struggling to get everything together. We're still struggling to get everything orchestrated and basically to gel. Right. So those are my thoughts, though. Well, those are the thoughts of the masses. My thoughts on those, I agree with a couple of them. From a footballing perspective, I still think Coach Hallgrímsson has some way to go, because we're still struggling to see something. If some more time, always have the different set of players turning up. Copa will give him more time. Yeah, and Morris, that's my thought as well. So I can agree with that person who said it's difficult to identify what he's doing. Kahem Dixon, as I said, incredible player. Shamar Nicholson, Rima Jesus, them call him. He is definitely coming up in the big moments for Jamaica right now. I think we've gone to England. We've brought in Mikel Antonio. Antonio has been there. He's been doing what he's been doing. But at the end of the day, all roads lead to Shamar Nicholson, because he's been the main man for Jamaica over the last couple of months. All right. So Shamar Nicholson, first name on the team sheet, and especially going into the Copa America, he will be the first name on the team sheet as well. Might I mention, we had Leon Bailey and Dujon Whisper Richards in attendance at the National Stadium as well, and some fans weren't too happy about that, because they were saying he's able to come to the games, but he isn't able to play for Jamaica. So I won't go into that. That's a story for another day. But let's hear what your thoughts are on that as well. Remember, Halftime TV viewers and subscribers, share your opinions on those 5 pointers that we shared. Remember, these are the most talked about topics after the Reggaeboyz first 2 World Cup qualifying games for the 2026 World Cup qualifying campaign. So 876 under pressure, Shamar Nicholson, Rima Jesus comes up big again. Kahem Dixon, something special, one to watch for sure. Heimir Hallgrímsson, nothing special. That's a special. That's the thoughts of one particular fan. And last but not least, Guatemala will be the team to beat. Let's hear your opinion on those 5. And if you want to add some more, you can add those in the comment section. Remember, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Halftime TV logging out here and saying have a fantabulous week, folks. We'll talk soon. Well,